Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success, episode number 47 on this fantastic Thursday, thrilling Thursday. Of course, we talk about business and entrepreneurship every single Thursday, never fail at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Great to see everybody here. And Matt, little announcement. I've become a lumberjack today. I'm going to start a new business as a lumberjack. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say, please tell me you're kidding.
No
What's
new
going
business
on up
today.
there? How's it going?
Good.
It's real.
Good. We've got
There.
plenty. What's that?
Oh, nothing, my friend. Nothing. Dude, we have like a monsoon going on in Tampa right now, bro. You can't even go outside, man. It's raining so bad.
Wow.
So, see, we have bad days too. So, it's not all sunshine and hanging at the beach. Speaking of bad day, major shout out to our boy Derek Weber, who went through the trial of his life this week. Dude, had I known, I would have at least called and sang you a song or something. I didn't know till later on when I saw your deal, or I think Mike brought it up on one of the shows or something that you guys were stuck on. But Mike cared. Mike did care because he gave a shout out on the show. Oh, good to see the candles back, Pacey. There you go. I just decided since it's raining, it's a candle day. Why not bring it to the show? You know what I'm saying? Smells better though. You know, it smells like Christmas in here because these are all my Christmas scents.
This is boring. I need something going on here other than the whiteboard. I think Pacey's right. Should hang a shot.
No, dude, the whiteboard is epic because every day you're bringing new creativity. Think about that right there. Every day your announcing of the number of the show is just completely perfect, man. It's creative, dude, and that's the secret to success.
I get stressed out. I'm like, what am I going to do on the show today? Just kidding.
You wake up in the middle of the night, like thinking about it, worried, and
Yeah, because that's
do you
me.
like try different times?
Yeah, yeah, because that's how I roll. I get stressed out and wake up in the middle of the night about stuff. You know that, right? That's
Speaking of business,
that's
dude,
sarcasm. That's the
better than matches when it comes to lighting candles. Thank you, Bic. Thank you, Bic, for thinking of people that use candles. Speaking of entrepreneurship,
I
remember the
actually
day when
use
you had to like
like a
the mats? Oh yeah, the rock and the
yeah, because
you know,
the lumberjack vibe I got going on. Just
Jack. Baby. I love the hat though. I love the beanie, dude. We don't roll beanie in Florida, but hey, I love it.
well, it got warm enough today to wear it. It's up to 20 degrees. So um,
Dude, we got a great show today. This is always fun. Um, Entrepreneurship and business. Looking forward to this discussion. We've had a great week so far. We got some great topics to discuss today. Got a lot of unbelievable entrepreneurs that watch that actually could turn around and teach us. Mike, I had an hour and 10-minute talk with an entrepreneur yesterday, and that dude completely fueled my fire. I'm going to tell him about it. I'm going to tell about him in a little bit in the show here today.
okay, good. Um, Well, as always, go ahead and ask questions during the show here. Click on the question box down below or over in the chat on the other side of Matt. Hmm?
Oh, you talking to me to ask questions? Oh, I thought you were talking to me to ask you questions. I'm sorry, Mike.
You can ask me questions, but I mean, the folks that are with us on the show can ask questions also, is what I
Just
meant to
say
say.
3 words. Say 3 words, okay? Because it's coming. Total church makeover. Just hang tight. That's all I got to say. Talking about entrepreneurship, baby? Just think about those 3 words. All right? Deal? Deal. So, Mike, tell us what we got in store today, my friend.
Hey, got several.
Oh, I'm almost done with my Bible study, too, man. I've been in major execute mode. I want to get it out next week.
Good. I saw where you posted yesterday that the secret to writing is writing.
Bottom line right there. Sit your butt down and write. You'll never write a book until you write.
That's
And
great
you know what I
advice,
would say?
simple as it is.
Just write. Let the editor fix all the other stuff. the real secret to success in writing is in the editing, my friend. You just write. An editor, make your editor stress. You know what I mean?
That goes along pretty well with what I was saying a few weeks ago about, agile business startup. Even, just you got to just get your minimum viable product out there and iterate quickly, find ways to improve it. So it's a similar thing. You get your thoughts and your ideas down on paper or, in the computer, but and then iterate over it, refine it, make it better.
You
You,
still write
you
on
know, I
paper,
think,
Mike?
what's that?
Do you still write on paper, my friend? That is absolutely hysterical right there. Only you could just grab something right in front of you like that.
This is how my mind works. Frightening, isn't it? Okay.
It's scary.
This is actually from 2 days ago when I was on video conferences and broadcasting live video for 11 hours on Tuesday.
Either you have passion for it or that is the secret to suicide.
Relevant question from Jordan.
Yes, Jordan, but that's fixing to change. Because I'm going for a New York Times bestseller. I'm going for it. 5 years. You'll see me. You'll see me at Barnes & Nobles in 5 years. You will walk into Barnes & Nobles and see my book in 5 years, at least. But before 5 years. Anyways, let's talk about business, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You
We
can't
should.
be
I'm just
successful.
I'm gonna write a note, Matt. Let's talk about self-publishing later.
Okay.
Sorry.
About the value of it?
Well, and just how to do it, because there's so many options for self-publishing today. I was talking to my friend Jim Beach yesterday, who's writing 2 books. Look for him.
Jim, I'll write the forward.
And we were talking about self-publishing, and there's a lot of easy ways to get into it that are very effective. But we'll do that another time. I'll just make a note.
See, that Joe Giletti's a man of resources. There's a good place to go learn how to do self-publishing. But yeah, we will talk about it, Mike. We should.
Yeah.
In fact, you should show people how ridiculously easy it is to do ebooks and to get set up on Amazon, etc. But
Yeah,
that's for another day, my friend.
yeah. The hard part is getting people to buy your book. Okay, so, but we'll talk about that. So, first question we've got in the queue for you, Matt, is Joe's finished a book. Where's my copy?
Forget you, Joe.
I'm gonna kick him off the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Get him off. He's forever banned. Joe, I thought we were friends. I'm hurt.
Okay. Sorry. First question. We're 8 minutes in. We got to get to a question. Seriously.
We did. We answered Jordy's question.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate that. Otherwise, we'd really be in trouble. I'd be doing push-ups.
We'll be sleeping on the floor.
So, success in business, I mean, a lot of it's internal driving force, and we talked about, the secret to writing is just writing, and you just got to sort of jump in. But let me ask you this question: how important is your self-worth when it comes to success in business?
Mike, probably the most overlooked aspect of business right now that most people don't give any attention to. Self-worth in the heart and in the life of a business entrepreneur, CEO, is the life or death. You hear me? I'm talking it's the life or death of the success or failure of that business. So what I'm going to do is I made some notes about this actually, because this was a question that came in and I did some pre-thinking about it this morning. And I am very passionate about this subject.
Looks like we lost Matt for a second. Get him back here. Network droppage. Joe, it took you 2 days to write a book, man. That's impressive. Was that 2 hours of straight work, like 16 hours? Trying to get Matt back. Hey, Gary, my friend Gary Nielsen. Good to see you. So it's 16 hours, a little less to write a book. Hey, man, that's impressive. That's good stuff. Very good. What is your book about, Joe? We're going to have you on when we talk about writing again. I'm going to get Matt back on. Looks like he's back. Was back. Cool. So it's about your business stuff, investing in real estate. Here we go. Are you back with us, sir?
Hello.
Yeah, I got you now.
What happened?
Really? Britton, this is actually, I guess, a beanie. We call it a stocking hat when I was a kid, but they call them beanies today.
The word for it is beanie.
Now you're back.
You know why I got kicked off, Mike? Let me tell you what I've learned about Spreecast. They didn't think through the details. I love you, Spreecast, but you should have thought about people like me that use major hand motions. So I got to keep all my hand motions down here because there's a common denominator, my friend, that when one of us get moving with the hands, we get kicked off. So Steve Jobs would not have let that happen. But anyways,
that's bad news for you and I.
That's really bad news because now I gotta like chain myself to my chair here. I might have to start wearing handcuffs on the show, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, friend. I prefer you first.
My friend Gary Nielsen's on here. He's a programmer. We should probably have him call Spreecast and fix their algorithm. Can you do that for me, Gary?
Gary?
Okay.
Can you do that in like a day? I love Joe. Joe's ready to come on, baby, chopping at the bits, and we need him on. Yeah, if I ever get kicked off, just bring Joe right on. So, you know, Mike, I literally have not eaten ice cream in probably 6 months. Literally. I'm just telling you that up front. But anyway, so here's the deal, bro. You want some real truth about self-esteem or self-worth? You have to believe in yourself. Huh? You have to believe in yourself and your plan and your vision so much that even if the entire world was against it, you knew that you could persuade them that this is by far the best thing they'll ever experience in their life. Most people, Mike, don't succeed because of lack of inner conviction or belief in themselves. Belief that even if that's why the average millionaire literally has gone broke 3 times. It's not too encouraging, but it's true. The reason for that is because there's a lot of lessons you have to learn along the way. No doubt about it. Think of Dave Ramsey, right? Literally the man that we follow for our financial advice was by far one of the biggest financial failures. Donald Trump. We go to his hotel or his Trump Tower every year in New York. Anytime anybody goes to New York, you go, you take pictures. I mean, Donald Trump is a beast, but he's also had massive failures in his life. But you know what the common denominator of these people is that they believed in themselves and they have self-worth. You don't think Dave Ramsey has self-worth? Check again. You don't think that Donald Trump has a healthy self-worth? Check again, my friends. You watch it. Steve Jobs was literally fired from Apple. That's no joke. From the company that he founded, he was fired, my friend. You don't think that he had gremlins and demons to deal with in his mind? See, can you deal with failure? Can you deal with the grind, the setback? Can you deal with the pressure as it caves in and it looks like your business isn't going to go? but you know in your soul, you know who you are, you know your abilities, you know that you're going to pull it out, you know you're going to succeed. A lot of that comes down to it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, self-limiting beliefs is literally the root cause of business failure. I'm going to talk about that because our self-worth is going to determine the type of people we surround ourselves with. And here's the bottom line. Extreme dreams take extreme teams. And if you have an ego or insecurity or you have low self-worth, it's going to limit your ability to bring around people that are better than you and more skilled than you in certain areas that are literally going to outshine you, right? Can you handle that? A person with good self-worth is confident that, hey, I recognize I have weaknesses. I recognize I can't even bring any value to this aspect of the business, right? I need these superstar, Olympic, highly qualified, successful people in my inner circle. Self-worth will determine the type of people that you attract into your life. This applies to dating as well. You know why you see either or, right? And we've all seen it. We've all gone to the mall or the baseball game, and you've seen either or, a really gorgeous girl with a dork or a good-looking guy with an ugly girl, right? We've all, so let's be real. Don't be mad at what I'm saying. Just be real about it. We've seen it. Every day I see it. And you know what the real issue to some of that is self-esteem and self-worth. No joke. But let me say this real quick. Your self-worth will hinder your sales and the price that you put on your products and services. That's why some people always undersell themselves. You know, there's a fine line between knowing your value and arrogance, right? And a lot of people misread people that have high value on their products and services and what they can bring to the table, right? So they struggle with maybe price. Some people always are afraid to charge because they don't have good self-worth. They're afraid to sell. You know, they don't have good confidence in their product and their service. So that's huge, and we could really camp here and talk about this, and I'd love to, but I want to get to the rest of the questions, so we're going to revisit that, Mike. Make a note of that. But your self-worth will also determine how good or bad you treat your employees. And if you don't treat your employees right, you're done. If you don't have happy employees that wake out of bed dying to get to work because they love where they work, because you treat them so good, a lot of that is determined. How you treat people is honestly determined by your self-worth. Mike, this applies to our relationships. This applies to our the way we handle our kids, the way we handle our relationships, our health. Self-worth is the root of everything. So we really need to pay good close attention to that, in my opinion, especially when it comes to business. This is what I always say. The number one focus of a CEO or an entrepreneur is growth. You need coaches. You need trainers. You need mentors. You need books. Hear me? You need books. You need seminars. You need Fuel for Success. You need to continuously develop yourself and grow so you can be the best leader you possibly can be. Because here's the secret. The real growth of the business is determined by the growth of the leader. And bam! Home run today.
Hey, next question I have in the queue. That's great stuff, and we'll readdress self-worth. We could probably talk about self-worth all 5 days of the show.
We could. And listen, our spouses are going to need good self-worth. You know, our kids, our manager beneath us. You know, it's so important that I think every company should literally yearly do self-esteem and self-worth training. No joke. I think every employee should go through training and books on how to grow your self-worth.
It's good.
But be careful, because when you start empowering your people to have self-worth, you're not going to be able to kick them around anymore to all you insecure leaders out there. How about that for you?
It's good. Hey, let me ask you the next question then. So a lot of folks, especially that are watching today, business and entrepreneurship, are either thinking about starting up or have started a business. Can you share a startup that you know of that's successful and why it was successful?
I'm going to go with the one, and I've known many because I literally, dude, I love picking brains of people.
Yeah.
That, like, I went to a Christmas party with a pastor at this, like, mansion, okay? And he said, look, man, this guy's a multi-millionaire. So at that Christmas party, I spent an hour talking to him and picking his brain, right? Why just sit there and eat meatballs and sit on the couch? I'm finding the wealthiest, most successful man in the room, and we're talking. Hear me? I'm all about learning. I literally spend 90% of my time in conversations learning. So, dude, the guy worked at a hardware store. He was like $80,000 in debt, the typical story. And at his hardware store, someone came in asking for some kind of something that would attract deer to near his deer stand. And the guy literally is the one that created deer cocaine. That's literally in every like major hunting store, whatever. The Mike, you would know this. What's it called? The Bass Pro Shops and
Sure.
Cabela's and But the story of what he went through and this kind of ties into our next question too. The story of what he went through to build that business. What an unbelievable! I got gold out of that hour-long conversation. That hour-long conversation was better than 6 months in the classroom. The principles he taught me, the things that I could glean, that I could just catch by listening, his mentality. I picked up on his mentality. What made him successful was, A, he believed in his product as much as we believe in Jesus. B, he worked, literally had an unbelievable, he would work at the hardware store, go home, eat dinner, and then go in the garage and work till like 1 in the morning every day. So again, that's a startup right there. Not too many families can handle that. Understandably, that's why we don't have as many startups or as many people going out and starting businesses, because it's grueling, it's grinding, it's sacrifice, it's tough, it's long hours. But anyways, so having said that, yesterday I talked to a guy named Tony Cruz, who was out of Miami, who actually lived in Ohio. I used to be his coach. I used to do life coaching for him, so I was checking up on him, seeing how he's doing, because he moved to Miami to start a church. And the guy came here with literally nothing to Miami. And he started a business last year, didn't know a soul, hear me? Had zero money. Like, all he had in his little apartment was 5 plastic chairs and a folding table. That's it. They slept on the floor. They had no furniture. They sold everything to come here, right? So how do you explain that a year later he bought a work van, he bought a car, he's getting ready to move into a beautiful home. He's highly successful. So I spent like an hour yesterday picking his brain, and I picked up on some things. I'm going to give you 3 things. Mike, he was so tenacious. He said, Matt, every successful business person has to have a process and a routine. And I really believe in the power of process. This is why a lot of people are flighty, because they don't have a process they stick to. So he literally had a routine of what time he went to bed, what time he woke up. He said, man, I was out of bed and I was literally out the door by 6 a.m. and literally just going door to door, talking to people. He started like this roofing company, fixing leaks and whatnot. And he's like, look, there's thousands of them in Miami. So I'm the new kid on the block. So I had to differentiate myself. And he said that's another problem a lot of businesses don't do, is they don't differentiate. Now, speaking of differentiation, I have a book behind me, and I want to turn around and start facing my books. It's called Differentiate or Die. Dude, it's a must read for anybody in business. Differentiate or die. And that's what happens to a lot of people that have competitors. You're trying to compete. If you compete, you lose. If you differentiate, you bury them. You put them under. You hear me? The day you differentiate. So, and then the third thing, Mike, was he literally applied true business principles. And he began to relay some of them to me yesterday. For example, one of them is high level customer service. He said, man, I can honestly tell you I have the best customer service in all of Miami. And he said it was the only way I was going to survive. So, some businesses don't have time or energy for high level customer service. You better make up for it in other areas. Your product better be so unbelievable. For example, iPhone, right? It's more the product than the service. Don't get me wrong, I love Apple, but it's not like they have the most unbelievable customer service. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But it's the product. So that's Mike, what's your take on that, man?
On which, the whole question or
Yeah.
the
Or even
customer service part of it?
go ahead, what were you saying?
Uh, well, I like what you said about differentiation, and that's the absolute truth, especially when it comes to what you said was gold. Sometimes people try to compete, and it's difficult to compete. It's easy to think linearly and think, well, this is what people in my same category are doing, so I need to do what they're doing and do it better than them, which isn't necessarily the case. Maybe the best thing to
No.
do is to find an angle that you can attack it that's different, and that sets you apart, and that gives you a lot of gives you a better angle of attack. You can't necessarily compete against somebody that's been in business for 10 years if you're a startup, on equal ground. It's like you don't go to somebody else's yard and fight them. You know what I'm
Well, for
saying?
example, Netflix versus Blockbuster, right? That's why Netflix sunk Blockbuster. You know, think about smartphones. Nobody's going to compete with Apple. Nobody. Hear me? Nobody is ever going to put the iPhone under. Except, I will tell you this, that's even made me just a little bit tempted to get a different smartphone, is the camera feature of some of these other phones. Because I'm
Yeah.
into like a lot of pictures and video. But I'm not going to do it. I'm a
Um,
loyalist.
well, that's actually a great example. When you think about the impact that the iPhone had, it was a first in class. There was nothing like it when it came out, and for years, we read blog posts and we read articles that talked about, is this new phone the iPhone killer? And everybody was chasing the iPhone rather than differentiating and finding a different market. And it's still that way. And still no phone has caught it. And we're, 6 years in, 7 years in. So when a product is that good, I mean, why? If I were a phone manufacturer, the last thing I'd do is try to compete head to head with Apple, which is probably why we're starting to see some of the differentiation of like you said, the camera feature.
Yeah. Well, I told my son's on a very elite baseball team. These kids are like almost 6 foot, they're a year older, and I said, look, Caleb, you're not going to compete with these guys. The only way to beat them and climb your way to the top is to have a Pete Rose mentality. You got to be a freak about hustle. I mean, a freak. You got to be a freak. You got to differentiate yourself. And since he's done that, he started to climb on this team. He's climbed his way into a starting position, climbed his way up the batting order, because I had to like create like a lion in him, like a monster of just tenacious, like, look, in practice, even in BP, I want you diving for balls. When the coach says time to pick up the balls, break a sweat going to pick them up. You got to
Yeah.
stand out. Most people don't stand out, Mike. They're average. And when you are dealing with people that totally are better than you, more skilled, have more talent, you're never going to catch them if you compete. But if you differentiate, you're going to beat them.
It's good. And I'll definitely link up that book on the show notes. You've got 30 seconds. Do you want me to fire you another question?
Sure.
So, when should you quit your job and go full time with your business?
Now, right now. No, I actually made some notes on that, Mike, because I do believe there's some practical things that people should do. So let's go 5 minutes over. Why not? First thing I like to say, because this is important, is each situation is different. You can't cookie cutter this subject, right? Because, if you're a single guy and you don't have a wife or kids, quit now. Quit now, my friend. You can live in your grandma's garage for all that matters, right? You can live in the back of a pickup truck. So you can be fearless and reckless when you don't have a wife and kids. However, my friends, the number one consideration when quitting your job is your family. Now, fortunately, some entrepreneurs married the perfect wife who's built to be married to a risk taker and an entrepreneur, and she can take it. She don't mind having plastic chairs in the folding table and sleeping on the floor. She knows the bigger picture. She knows her husband's gonna, make this happen. So, case in point, Joe Giletti, major risk taker, major. Joe's got a great wife, stood with him through it all, totally supports his vision. Stuff like that is extremely important. Your wife, Mike, I mean, my Lord. So that's important, is in consideration. And I also believe, Mike, when considering quitting your job, a lot of it depends on timing. For example, if someone was coming to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about quitting my job and going full-time in my business, and your kid's high school graduation is this year, probably not a good time. Or if your daughter's getting married in 8 months, probably not a good time either. So a lot of it depends on timing, the situation, and, if your business, everything comes down to cash. Cash is king. Everything comes down to cash flow. So I would say this, really, how little can you make and make it? So if you quit your job, right, smart move, should do it. It's a must sometimes for your business to succeed. In fact, some of your business will go under if you don't quit your job, because you only have a certain amount of time in a day. However, I'll say this, it all is going to depend on your lifestyle. Now, if you want to hold on to the country club and go on 3 cruises a year and, take 3 days off a week and, sleep in till 10 or 11 o'clock, I'm just letting you know you're making a very bad move. If you're ready to execute fiercely and live on little and sacrifice, go for it. But the last thing I would say, Mike, and I want you to throw some thoughts in on this, is if your business gets ready to bring you on full time, if paying you cuts into your sales and marketing budget, bad move. So I would say immediate red light. Continue to pay the price and sacrifice and work that second job before you cut into your sales and marketing budget. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're an unbelievable, like me, salesman, right? If you're an unbelievable salesman, fine. If having you 8, 12, 14 hours a day to sell, right? Not to sit in your office and scroll ESPN and, go lay on the beach, right? But if having you to sell, then it might be worth it. So I think all of that has to be factored in my opinion. Mike, what's your thoughts on this? We got 2 minutes left.
I like that, and don't let your ego get in the way of making the right decision for your business. That's an important key. So, and the other thing that I would say is there's always an element of risk, and there's a trade-off between security. There's an element of security that you have to let go of when you make that transition from a full-time job. Obviously, if you're working for somebody else and somebody else manages that, there's going to be a paycheck, every 2 weeks or whatever. There's a strong element of security there, and there's an element of risk when you make that step. And I've not seen very many situations where the cash flow was so great that it was an easy decision to make. Usually, there's a narrowing. There's a situation where it's going to be very tight. There's going to be some risk. You're not going to have the security, and you need to weigh out the pros and cons of it at that point.
That's very good. I like about what you said, Mike, there is going to be risk. So at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to do it, right? You just need to walk into your boss and put in your 2 weeks notice. And if you're following your passion, you're going to win anyways. Because people that follow their passion always end up on top. Always, always, always. Especially if you apply business principles. Now, you can't succeed and violate the principles. So it all depends on what you're willing to commit to But I agree with you, Mike. Sometimes you just need to say, guys, bring a family meeting. It's going to be a little tight for the next 6 months, but you should see what it's going to be like 2 years from now or 3 years from now, or, by this time next year. You know what I'm saying? So give them hope. Give your wife hope. Hey, babe, you're going to be able to buy any dress you want here before long. Right now, no dresses for about 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Ish.
It's good.
Hey, I like this, man. Good to see some people doing it. Kim said she works, quit her full-time job, started business full-time, walked out by faith. Awesome. What's the worst case scenario? Mike, you know what I think is the problem? We're too afraid of failure. We shouldn't be afraid of failure, my friend. What's the worst case scenario? You fail? Got to move into your mom's house for 6 months? Got to live in your car for a little while? It's America, baby. Quit being so afraid. Hey, Mike, we love you, man. Great show. Went a little overtime today. That's okay. We'll be back next Thursday for business and entrepreneurship. This is obviously something we're very passionate about, so we go all in. Tomorrow, though, we're going to conclude the week of Fuel for Success with family and relationships. It's going to be big tomorrow. Don't forget, guys, fuelforsuccess.tv. Tell your family, friends, enemies, neighbors, people at the gym, people at church. Tell everybody about it. It's free. They can watch any previous episode and listen to it. Download it. Put it on their iPod. Listen to it while you're walking. Listen to it while you're driving to work. We love you. We believe in you. Go do it. Mike, good seeing you again, my friend. Can't wait to see what tomorrow's whiteboard is going to show. Family and relationships.
Right on. God bless everyone. Thanks for being here.
Enjoy your day, my friends.